Hey guys, it's Prometheum5 here, back with another CollectionDX review for you. Today we're going to be looking at the latest release from ThreeA Toys in their Real Steel line. This is Noisy Boy. This big badass figure comes courtesy of ThreeA as a review sample ahead of the retail ship date, so thanks to ThreeA for sending this out early. Noisy Boy was put up for pre-order on Bambaland a few months ago, and that's sold out, but you can still pre-order the regular retail version from places like Big Bad Toy Store or Hobbylink Japan. So if you like what you see, be sure to go scope one out. I think you'll agree once we get into it that this figure is worth taking another look at. So Noisy Boy is the second robot that Hugh Jackman not pilots but controls in the movie, and he doesn't fare too well, but he is a cool looking robot that makes an awesome figure. So let's get right into it. Noisy Boy stands about 18 inches tall, as you can see from my hand here. He's just enormous. This is a huge, huge figure, and just like ThreeA's other Real Steel releases, extremely complex, very well made, and just all around sophisticated, awesome robot action. Noisy Boy has this beautiful, beautiful metallic pearlescent purple paint job that is almost flawless. I mean, I've seen one or two little maybe dust specks in a couple spots, but you have to really get up close on this guy to notice any of that. It looks like a car. It's just, the paint job is fantastic before we even get into how the figure works. So, really great job on that. I'm just really excited about this. I've been impressed with all of the Real Steel releases so far. I actually don't have Midas yet. That was the second release, but I actually picked that up on a Black Friday sale, so that's on the way, and I'll go back and play catch up and fill in that gap in the Real Steel line reviews. But that's not important right now. Let's talk about Noisy Boy. Noisy Boy is awesome. Just like the other Real Steel releases, it is made of hard plastic, fully painted with construction accurate to the film. It's not like their ThreeA's vinyl releases where they're large hollow figures that have large ball joints and things. This is an inner skeleton with layers of armor and plates that slide and pistons that move, and the best thing about this guy, joints that click. Every joint on here has an awesome ratchet. Finally. The one complaint I've had, can't really hear that one, but you can see it's detented. The one complaint that I've had with the Real Steel line from ThreeA is that the figures are not, at least they haven't in the past, been the most stable. If you remember from my Adam review, he was a little tippy. Ambush was pretty solid, but his joints were actually almost too tight. If you weren't careful, you could damage the figure trying to manipulate everything. But Noisy Boy, they seem to have finally gotten everything perfect. They, as you'll remember, I actually have the others here we can compare. Ambush on this side, very well made, all friction joints and ball joints and things like that. Adam here, let's just put Noisy Boy's arms down. Oh, there goes Ambush. So that's more my fault. That's not the fault of the toy. Just got a lot of big robots going on in the same frame here. But if you'll remember, Adam was a little harder to get to stand in my video. He's got some clicky joints and things, but he's a little squirrely. And I don't know if that was just because Adam was an early sample as well, or if they all were a little loose. But he is kind of a pain. We got him up now though. And you can see, I mean, even if you're not a fan of the movies, which I know a lot of people aren't, this is an awesome line of huge, detailed robot figures. I mean, any fans of real robots and mecha and cool toys should give these guys a look. But here's just to finish our comparisons and stuff, this is a regular 12-inch, 1/6 scale character figure, and you can see just how crazy big these guys are. The biggest problem I have with them at this point is just how much shelf space they take up. They're tough to all display. I mean, they look awesome on display, but it's just trying to fit them somewhere has become a little more challenging now that I have three. But so that's that. Like I said, Noisy Boy is definitely the best made of the line, and I will show you why. After we get these guys out of the way here, we just gotta all our friends. So like I said, Noisy Boy, a lot heavier too than the other ones I noticed. He's much more solid in the middle. Everything clicks. He's just really nicely made. I guess we can go through the articulation points. He has pretty much everything he would have had in the movie, if you could tell from his short fight scene. Got a lot of range of motion in the shoulders. They actually have a bit of a wing joint back and forth. They've got a bicep swivel, elbow. Both the forearm and the fist rotate independently, so you can get some cool poses there. The thumb actually slides in and out. Noisy Boy doesn't have real hands. He's got big, powerful, punchers. But his thumb does move for some expressive poses there. That's kind of cool. The head moves around all on a double ball joint with all these pistons that work. The waist goes forwards and back, and then side to side with a nice satisfying click. I really like that. That's a joint that's not going anywhere. The armor panels are ball jointed on the hips for the skirt. He's got ball joints with some pistons and stuff for support in the hip. Clicky knees like we discussed, and then the calf actually rotates at the knee. That's not a clicky joint, but it's nice and tight. The only disappointing joint on this guy is probably the ankles. Just based on the design, with all those layers of armor and stuff, he's not the most poseable at the ankles. No toe or heel or anything. But he does go side to side with a rocker, and then just a little bit of forwards and back. But the nice thing is that instead of having a ton of motion there, the joint is really tight and secure. So you can get him into some nice poses and he's not going anywhere, which is probably better in the long run for a toy that's huge. So he's real easy to get into any kind of pose you want. I mean, he'll do any kind of proper boxing pose, I'm not an expert on boxing, but anything you can do in the movie, he can do as a toy. But, paint is nice and everything. The articulation is good. But the main event here is the layup feature, which we'll get into. 3A was nice enough to include batteries, which actually, this time they didn't need to. I know I've complained in the past that 3A uses kind of a squirrely size of watch battery that I've had a tough time finding in stores in the US, and when I do find them, they're fairly expensive. $6 for a couple of batteries, and they're just little, dime-sized watch batteries. But for this guy, he actually just uses AA's, which is much more convenient. I think they'll probably last longer too. So I'm not going to take it all apart here because it needs a screw to get the panel off, but the back armor pushes out of the way and this main armor piece comes off. Everything seems really nicely made. I remember mentioning on the review of the Halo Carter Spartan figure that it seemed like the battery compartment was a little flimsy with a big peg and stuff that had to go in. This is very rugged. There's nothing that seems like it's gonna break ever. This guy's really solid all around. The other nice thing, if you remember from my Atom review, the switches and stuff were real small and kind of hard to get at. You almost need, actually for the one you need tweezers to activate the little switches on Atom, very much like a Hot Toys figure. Noisy Boy has a big old button on the back here that you just push and the lights go on. It's much nicer, and it's got a nice, click to the button. It's very well made. And then we can turn this guy around and you can see just how awesome this gets. So, Noisy Boy is inspired both by samurai influences and drift cars. He's very much like Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift plus robots that beat the shit out of each other, which seems like a good combination to me. It's probably a little blown out in the video here, but you can make out that he has his trademark symbols on the arms, and these are made from a number. It's a 16 by 16 LED panel, and it actually cycles through a number of Japanese characters. And it's enough LEDs that they are legible, and they look really cool. They cycle every few seconds, and they match the film really well. I'm pretty impressed with this. He's also got lights in the eyes that are probably a little hard to make out here, in the chest, and then he's got kind of a red undercarriage kit as well. He's got lights in the legs, upper and lower, lights in the torso and stuff, and there's wires running kind of between all the limbs and stuff that are all under the armor and everything, so they actually end up looking like part of the mechanical design as opposed to being the wires to make the electronics go for the toy. So really just totally cool overall. The lights and stuff are insane. 3A really went above and beyond on this, and especially, in a lot of people's mind, for a toy, a franchise that didn't really need this kind of attention. I enjoyed Real Steel. I know a lot of people made fun of it, and it wasn't, didn't light the world on fire. But 3A saw room to do some pretty cool stuff, and it's given them an excuse to really flex their engineering muscles. So I'm glad that they're holding strong, even though most people probably don't really care at this point. But yeah, Noisy Boy is just, incredible. This is the best of the line. This is probably one of the best toys that 3A has ever put out. Everything is exactly as it should be. There's no QC issues that I can find. And I'm sure too that, as a review sample, 3A wouldn't send me a bad one, but I don't see where this would get screwed up as long as they just make them the way they made this one. Everything, all the joints and stuff are exactly the right tension. He's real solid, very hard to knock over. The other two would be on their ass if I did this to them. Noisy Boy's not going anywhere. He's got, enough motion to get his feet flat on the ground no matter what you need to do. He's got enough articulation to do some nice action poses. He was very dynamic in the movie too. He's a lot of, big swinging punches and stuff, and he can absolutely do that here with his crazy shoulder joints and everything. And the armor's on nice big swing joints, kind of like a, like a Zaku kid or something. So everything you could want there. And with the lights and everything to complement that, it's just a totally cool package. So, if you like what you see, definitely worth checking out. I'll have a full text and photo review up on CollectionDX.com soon. Like I said, I might have said that in a different take, but I have ordered a Midas finally, which was the second release in the line, and the only one that I don't have yet. Midas wasn't my favorite design in the movie, but I figured I got Noisy Boy, probably need Midas to round out the set and, take some awesome photos of the two fighting. So I'll finish up the text and photo review once I get Midas and can take some awesome battle photos, which should be a lot of fun. I got Midas on a Black Friday sale deal, so I'm pretty excited about that. Noisy Boy does come at a price. For this level of engineering and the complex light work and stuff, it is a little more expensive than the others. I think he was about $340, $330 on Bamboland. I didn't order one there, so I don't quite remember. But the retail version that you could pre-order today, slated to ship next year sometime, on Big Bad Toy Store right now, it's about $350, which says it's marked down from about $390. So that's a lot of money for, Big Dumb Robot toy. But this is one of the coolest Big Dumb Robot toys I've ever seen. So it's a stretch, but it's really impressive. I would recommend it, definitely to anyone that liked the movie, all four of us. But fans of cool, high-end robot toys should definitely give this a look, even if they don't care about the license. This is just one of those toys that, once you see it, you're not going to want to let it go. It's just really impressive. I'll take a zillion photos for the text and photo review. It's too much to show here, but the detail is astounding, and the finish is, like I said, basically flawless. 3A really outdid themselves here. This is the best. 3A has shown over the last couple of years that when they really put their mind to it, they can do some unbelievable work, and this is pretty much the best of that prowess. So, like I said, big thanks to 3A for sending this along. I could not be more excited. It seems like it came like a bit of a surprise. Josh sent me an email one day and said, this big purple dude showed up. I think it's for you. And I was like, I couldn't even believe it. It's the same kind of deal as Adam, shipped way ahead of the actual release date. So really, I am thankful to 3A for sending this along. It's a killer toy, and you guys you blew it away. I could not be more excited. This guy is going to be in all sorts of photos before he goes up on the shelf. So like I said, this has been Prometheum 5 for CollectionDX.com. Text and photo review on the site soon. I'll put a link in the show notes when it's ready, but I wanted to get the video up as soon as possible so that anyone interested could, go pick one up if they wanted to. And they'll ship next year from the look of things. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you want. We have a lot of cool stuff in the pipe. All sorts of fun robot reviews and action figure reviews and toy stuff. Check out our sister sites, Poghostal, and all the others on our CollectionDX network. And thanks for watching. This has been Noisy Boy from ThreeA's Real Steel line. Have a good one.